Hi students and learning coaches, welcome back to Literature and Comprehension. We're going to continue in Unit 23, which is entitled Hot and Cold. And in today's video, we're going to do lessons 2 and 3, which is centered around the magazine article Hot and Cold that we read in lesson 1. So you may want to pause the video and go and get your magazine article. It is in the K-12 World magazine entitled Our Busy Bodies. The article that we're looking at is entitled Hot and Cold, and you will find it on page 28. I am going to use a lesson guide online, but you may want to use a lesson guide that is provided in your language arts lesson guide, which begins on page 487. If you are doing this lesson 2 and 3 on a different day than you did lesson 1, you will want to go back and reread the article. You will want to do a book walk through the article, look at the pictures, look at the title, talk about the pictures. You will also want to talk about the new words that you will see in the article. So we're going to continue talking about the article Hot and Cold. Boys and girls, it was considered a non-fiction article. It was filled with facts, and as you remember, a fact is something that you can prove to be true. For example, what day is it? I will tell you that today is Thursday. How do I know that? Because I can go over to my calendar and see that today is Thursday. Another fact that I can prove, where I was born. I was born in Dawson, Georgia. How do I know that that's true? I can go and look at my birth certificate and it will say I was born in Dawson, Georgia. Another fact that I can prove, do some dogs bark? Yes. How do I know that's true? I have a dog named Bella, and when she gets upset, she barks. So the article that you listened to, Hot and Cold, had a lot of facts in it. Tell your learning coach a fact that you learned from the article. If you told them that you learned that snow is cold, or that fire is hot, or that soup is hot, or that we use our lips and tongues and hands to touch, those would all be true facts that can be proven by looking at the article that you listened to in lesson 1. All right, let's move on. We're going to look at some other, look at the pictures in your magazine article, and I'm going to ask you some questions about those. So let's look at the picture on page 28. What do you notice about these dogs? What do you notice about them? If you told your learning coach that one is big and the other is small, that would be correct. Let's look at the pictures of the fire and the girl. How are fire and snow different? If you told your learning coach that fire is hot and snow is cold, that would be correct. How are snow and a bowl of ice cream alike? How are snow and a bowl of ice cream alike? Tell your learning coach that. If you told them that they're both cold, you would be correct. Okay, let's look at a picture on page 32. How are these two pictures the same? How are they the same? If you told your learning coach that both of the girls are eating, that's correct. But how are they different? How are they different? You may have told your learning coach that the soup is hot and the ice cream is cold. That is how they're different. Let's look at page 35. How are these two pictures different? If you told your learning coach that the hot chocolate here is hot, and that the lemonade here is cold, that makes these two drinks very different. Okay, let's continue on with some other questions. Which of our 5 senses lets us feel things? If you told your learning coach the sense of touch allows us to feel things, we use our hands, that would be correct. How can you use your sense of touch to tell if the food in a bowl is hot or cold? How can you use your sense of touch to tell if a food in a cup is hot or cold? You can use your hands to touch the outside of the bowl. That will let you know if something in the bowl is hot or cold. What can you do to cool down a spoonful of hot soup? Think about when you've had some hot soup. What did you do when you put it on the spoon? If you told your learning coach that you blew on it, that would be correct. That's the way I cool down my hot soup. What parts of your body can feel the ice cream is cold when you eat it? How can you tell that the ice cream is cold? What part of your body tells you that? If you said your lips and your tongue, you would be correct. Now, how does your face feel when the sun shines on it? If you told your learning coach it maybe feels hot or warm, you would be correct. How would jumping in cold water on a hot day make you feel? Think about being really, really hot and jumping into some cold water. Probably make you feel good or cool. Why would someone drink hot chocolate on a cold day? If you told your learning coach to make you feel warm inside, that would be correct. Learning coaches, if any of your students had a hard time answering some of these questions, you need to reread the article and go back and point out the answers to them in the article. And this concludes Lesson 2. Hi students and learning coaches, we're going to continue with Lesson 3 in Unit 23. This is our last lesson over our magazine article Hot and Cold. So you will need to make sure that you have a copy of the article, because we're going to be looking at the pictures, the diagrams, the captions in that article, and answer some questions using that information. So let's look at page 28. On page 28, let's look at the title of this article, which is entitled Hot and Cold. And students, why do you think the word hot is written in red? And why do you think the word cold is written on a blue background? Tell your learning coach, why do you think that they did that? Okay, you may have told your learning coach that the color red looks hot and that the color blue looks cold. Now let's look at page 29. Let's look at this boy right here. What do these words on the line and the lines tell us here? Here's the word see. The line is pointing to that we use our eyes to see with. Then we have the word smell, with the line drawn over to the nose, letting us know that we use our nose to smell. Then we have the word taste, with a line over to our lips and tongue, letting us know that that's the part of our body that we use to taste with. Then we have the word touch over here with a line drawn over to the hands, letting us know that we use our hands to touch with. And then you have the word hear right here with a line drawn over to the ears, letting us know that that is the part of our body, the ears, that we use to hear with. Okay, let's look on page 31. Page 31. We have a little girl holding a bowl of soup, but she's thinking about, here's like a thought bubble, what she's thinking. Okay, why is there a thought bubble that shows the girl thinking about the beach? She's got winter clothes on, eating soup, but she's thinking about the beach. Why do you think she might be thinking about the beach? Okay, maybe because the hot soup makes her think about being at the beach on a hot day. Or maybe she's feeling very cold and she's thinking about being somewhere where it's warm. Okay. Same thing down here. We have a little girl holding ice cream and she's thinking about snow. So maybe perhaps holding something cold makes her think about a winter day. All right. Now, you will also need, learning coaches, you will need your language arts activity book, and you're going to take out page 71, and it's going to be an activity to review hot and cold. This is a Venn diagram. We use it to show how things are alike and how they are different. And we're going to use it to show which parts of our body we're more likely to use to tell us something is hot or cold. Like we have our hands on this side, lips and tongue on this side, and then right here where the circle overlaps is going to be where we're going to put pictures of when we could use both our hands and fingers and our lips and tongue. On this side, we're going to put things that we only use our hands and fingers to touch to figure out if they're hot or cold. And on this side, we're only going to put pictures that we only use our lips and tongue to decide if something is hot or cold. And then here, we're going to put pictures where maybe you could use both your hands and fingers and your lips and tongues to decide if something is hot or cold. So for example, let's look at the pictures here, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do, and then when I'm finished with this video, you can complete this activity. We have a picture of a bathtub down here. What would we use to figure out if the bath water was hot? If you said that we would use our hands, that's correct. So we would cut out the picture of the tub, we would put it right here. We would not use our lips or our tongue to decide if our bath water is hot. So we couldn't put it here, and we couldn't put the picture here. Now what about the bowl of soup? If we want to decide the bowl of soup is hot, okay, we could put that in the middle because we could use our hands and our fingers to decide if the bowl is hot, or if the bowl of soup is hot, or we could put it over here. We'll know if we taste it if it's hot. So we could use both of these. So we're going to put that picture in the middle, okay, and then we're going to have this picture right here of ice cream. Okay, how are we going to tell if the ice cream is cold? We really don't want to touch it with our hands and fingers. So probably we're going to put it over here because that's how we're going to decide if ice cream is cold. So basically you're going to cut out these pictures, and if you only use your hands and fingers to decide if it's hot or cold, you're going to put it here. If you only use your lips or tongue to decide if something's hot or cold, you're going to put it here. Or if you can use both your hands and your fingers and your lips and your tongue to figure out if something is hot and cold, you're going to put it here in the middle where these circles overlap. And this is called a Venn diagram. And learning coaches, the directions for this activity are in the learning guide on page 493. You may want to reread over it again before you do this activity with your students. You will need the page 71, and you will need scissors and glue to do this activity. And boys and girls, that concludes our lessons about the magazine article Hot and Cold. Thank you so much for participating in our lesson. Have a great day.